In the early 1980s, Seattle and its surrounding suburbs became the hunting ground for one of the most prolific serial killers in U.S. history. Young women, many of them runaways or involved in sex work, began vanishing at an alarming rate. Bodies were later found dumped in wooded areas and along the Green River, giving the killer his infamous name, the Green River Killer. The first victims appeared in 1982. Police discovered several women's bodies near the Green River in King County, Washington. As investigators combed the area, more victims surfaced. The media dubbed the unknown murderer the Green River Killer, and panic spread among vulnerable communities. The King County Sheriff's Office formed one of the largest task forces in U.S. history to find the culprit, but for years he eluded capture. Detectives interviewed hundreds of suspects and collected thousands of pieces of evidence, but DNA technology at the time was primitive. The killer left behind little that could conclusively tie anyone to the murders. Meanwhile, bodies continued to appear. By the late 1980s, the death toll was estimated at more than 40. At one point, investigators even consulted notorious serial killer Ted Bundy in prison for insight into the case. Bundy suggested that the Green River Killer likely revisited his dump sites to perform necrophilic acts, a chillingly accurate assessment. But despite Bundy's input, the identity of the killer remained a mystery for nearly 2 decades. The breakthrough finally came with advancements in DNA profiling. Evidence collected from victims in the 1980s was retested in the 1990s and early 2000s. In 2001, DNA from several victims matched a man who had long been on investigators' radar, Gary Ridgway, a seemingly ordinary truck painter who had been questioned multiple times in the 1980s but released for lack of evidence. Ridgway, a married man with a steady job and a mild demeanor, confessed to killing dozens of women after his arrest. In chilling interviews, he explained how he targeted vulnerable women and strangled them, often dumping their bodies in clusters along the same routes he drove for work. Ridgway ultimately admitted to killing 71 women, though authorities officially confirmed 49, making him the most prolific convicted serial killer in U.S. history. In 2003, Ridgway accepted a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to 48 life sentences without parole, plus additional years for tampering with evidence. He is currently serving his sentence at the Washington State Penitentiary. The Green River Killer case reshaped how law enforcement investigates serial murders, emphasizing the importance of DNA preservation and interagency cooperation. It also underscored society's failure to protect marginalized women who were disproportionately targeted because the killer believed no one would notice their disappearances. Even today, Ridgway's crimes haunt the Pacific Northwest. Families of victims continue to seek answers about missing loved ones, and cold cases from that era are still being reviewed for possible links to Ridgway. His story stands as a grim reminder of how a seemingly ordinary man can conceal unimaginable evil, and how decades of persistence and scientific progress can finally bring justice.